Hello and welcome. We're glad you decided to join us today by downloading and listening to this week's featured message. We pray that you allow God to use this week's message to teach and inspire you while you listen.
We learned last week that no passion or pride, no possession or priority, no person or problem should come between you and God. We discussed the first commandment. The second commandment is the longest of the 10. And as I studied it, I discovered that it could not be done in one sermon. And so today, my subject is Love Me for Me, Part 1. Let's read the second commandment together. If you can't see it on the screen, then turn to your Bible, Exodus 20, verses 4 through 6. Together. Thou shalt not make unto thee, pause. That phrase, unto thee, will be key in this sermon. Let's read again. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God. The Hebrew says, I will not share my affections with anything. Finish visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. We will end our study today with the phrase, for I, the Lord thy God, will not share my affections. I'm a jealous God. We'll stop there. Let's pray. Lord, guide us today in our study. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Dealing with this theme for the first quarter, the law of love. In the first 5 sermons, we've dealt with the following, and let's go through that now, Dion. The things we have learned thus far. First, reading, the term law of love refers to the... Now, we've set that. That's, when we talk about the law of love, we're talking about the 10 commandments. Next, it is the law of love because it is based on the principles of love to God and love to man. Jesus himself described his law as a law of love in Matthew 22, 37 through 40. Then we learn, reading, the 10 commandments are a revelation of God's character. That's very important, Jacob. When we read the 10 commandments, we're reading a description of who and how God is. Not just a set of laws and codes, but a description of who? Talk to me, a description of who? Of God. Therefore, reading, the 10 commandments unfold or reveal God and how we are to relate to one another and to God. Continuing, we learn the 10 commandments are as old as God himself. If they describe his character, then the 10 commandments did not come into existence after God. And God has always existed, so the 10 commandments have always existed. Number 6, the 10 commandments define sin, and when there is no law, God does not hold anyone responsible for sin, which means that the law predates sin. In order for you to stop at that intersection at Braddock and Russell, The stoplight must be there first before you arrive. If they put it up while you're going through, come on now. You've broken no law. Let's continue. The law of love is predicted to come under attack. But to alter that law, you have to do what? Keep reading. He seals the permanence of the law with his very presence. We talked about how the Ten Commandments are placed in the ark, beneath the mercy seat, beneath the presence of God. In order to change the law, you have to ask God to get up and get out of the way. Who is able? Who is able? Now, 3 principles came out of that first commandment. First, no other God exists but God. Secondly, since no other God exists but God, when you've got a problem in your life, take it to God when? First. Somebody listened last week. First. Don't try to figure something out and then bring God in on your plans. Come on, somebody. Rather go to God first, then act. And then the third thing we've learned is that once you go to God, you don't need to go to anybody else because God can handle it all by himself. The second commandment introduces, and I spent a lot of time on this commandment, Harold Sanford. I mean, this commandment is deep. It's deep. Because it introduces something about God, Shirley Steele, that we don't think about. See, my subject, Larry Marable, is love me for me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image. What is God really saying? There is nothing more painful in life. You married folk, listen now. All the married folk, listen. There is nothing more painful in life than waking up to the cold reality one day that the closest person to you has never accepted you for who you are. You know, one of the sillinesses about the first few years of marriage, of course, is that most young couples spend the first few years trying to change the person they marry. It is the height of frustrated stupidity. Because if their parents didn't do it, you ain't. But here you are living with someone, sharing, and they're trying to turn you into somebody else. Are you with me so far? Now, I'm not talking about people not accepting your character, because all of us need to have our characters improved and remade. What do you say? But I'm talking about, listen, I'm talking about, Carolyn Ashby, somebody not accepting your uniqueness as a person. I am Nadine who I am. This is the way God made me. If you're going to love him, you're right, you got to love the melancholic choleric that he is. May not be your most pleasing kind of temperament, but this is it. It's all I can offer. If you're going to love your pastor, this is the package. Come on, somebody. Give me some love right now. Got to do it. You got to do it. This was the problem that God had with these slaves, that he had just freed. They kept, Karen Hall, trying to twist God into something that God never was. Last week in the second service, Cheryl, Pastor Hayden did a glorious job of trying to give us the sense of the awesome moment when God made his law and himself known to all the people. Stay with me, folks. See, these 10 commandments are awesome. It's a revelation of God, and with stupendous power and burning mountains and lightning and thunderings and earthquakes. Deborah Sanford, God said, this is me. This is my majesty. This is my awesomeness. The ground shook and the whole setting was so awesome that God had to tell these ignorant people, stay away from the mountain, lest you break through, listen, and gaze and see me and die. Now, Judah, he is unfolding himself. You want to know me? This is what you got. You got somebody so awesome, so powerful, that to look at me, unless you're holy, could be your death. And what he's saying is, if you want to love me, you got to love me with all this power. All this awesomeness. You see, ladies and gentlemen, learning to love God is one of the most sheer challenging things we've ever done, because he's awesome. He'll blow you away. And really the first inclination, Sandy, is to run from God. But he says, I want you to love me as awesome as I am. As awesome as I am. So, there they are. The holy God making himself known. And this awesome moment of God's self-revelation would never be forgotten by those who witnessed it. What God was doing on Mount Sinai was beginning to unfold his uniqueness. What was he doing? What was he doing? Can you, Scott, love God as God is? Because I would suggest to you today, without apology, that many of you are having God problems because you've never accepted God as he is. And you keep trying to twist him into something he isn't. Now, we mentioned before that the Ten Commandments, and I need to see that up on the screen now. Let's give it to them again. Ten Commandments are divided into two parts. Give me that chart you all developed for me a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. The Ten Commandments have two parts. Love to God and love to... And these are the four that deal with love to God. No gods before me. No images made like unto me. Don't misuse my name. Oh, wait till I get to that commandment. You think you know what that commandment teaches? Ooh-wee. And then remember the seventh day. 3 sermons on that. Can't preach the Sabbath in one sermon. At least 3. Now, these 4 commandments are saying, this is how you relate to me. And think about the moments when you get tired of people pressing on you and squeezing you, and you finally rise and say, no, look, this is the way I am. Now, some of you married folk dropping your eyes because you've been there. And now honey, I'm sorry. This is who I am. I was like this when you married me. Come on, y'all. Don't sit there all stiff. And at some point, you rise up on the tiptoes of your uniqueness and say, now, just a minute. If you wanted to marry somebody else, you should have done so. This is it. And that's what this sermon is about. It's about God saying, look, first of all, there is no other God. So if you want to love a God, this is it. This is it. So, this love to God is being expressed in this second commandment. The law is about relationships, we said. So in this love to God section of the Ten Commandments, the first 4, we're being informed, Mike, as to how to relate to God. Now, I'm not going to take time, because I've done that thoroughly, to review all the distortions and mind-bending ideas that the people had about God because of Satan's activities. Suffice it to say, Darrell, that God had to reveal both his majesty and his mercy. Reveal what? Both his majesty and his mercy. Now, Amanda, we love the merciful part of God. But that's not all God is, y'all. You got to love God, Steve, all that he is. We love to talk about his mercy and grace and forgiveness and kindness, and long we get teary-eyed. We start crying, take out our handkerchief. Yes, God saved me. But God also is a God who's not to be messed with. Who gets tired of human foolishness. And that's why on the mountain, he had to tell those slaves, look, yeah, I love you. I brought you out of Egypt on wings of love, but understand when you deal with me, my very presence creates and destroys. So don't come up to this mountain and peeping at me like you see in a movie. He's introducing himself. He's saying, I am God. There is none else. I'm awesome and mighty, and you've got to love that part of me too. Let me bring it home. See, when you get married, you can't just love your spouse when they're sweet, kind. When that rascal is off his hook, come on, sisters. You got to love him then too. Come on, brother, and say amen. The ladies ain't saying amen. You cannot wait a minute, folk. You can't separate the bad part from the good part of your spouse. It's all in the package. This is rough on you. I'll say amen for you. Amen! I love him when he's nice and sweet and kind, but sometimes she's not that way. Sometimes she does not smell sweet. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you wonder who you're laying next to. You got to love her anyhow. Hair ain't straight. Face ain't made up. This is it. This is the real her. I guess I got to enjoy this sermon by myself. And listen to me. It's an insult, Wendy. It's an insult to claim to love somebody and then only love them when they act like, look like what you like. Am I coming home now? And so the issue today is the ability to relate to God's majesty and might. It emerges in this second commandment. Now, let's get into the words themselves, Henry de Silva. Let's look at what these words are actually saying. What is a graven image? What is the function of a graven image? What is this jealousy that God possesses? Well, let's put the commandment back up there. Put the commandment back up there. Thou shalt not make unto who? That word keeps shooting at me. Unto thee. See, Colby, the graven image is for you. It ain't for him. Because he knows who he is. I'm coming back there. And then wash. When I read this commandment in the New Living Translation, did you get that one up for me? New Living Translation. Yeah. Come on, read. Here we go. Do not make idols of any kind, whether in the shape of birds or animals or fish. You must never worship or bow down to them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, who will not share your affection. Now, this commandment is a natural to follow the issues raised in the first commandment. See, the first clarifies that there's no other God, that when you go to that one God, go to him first, and when you go to him first, you don't need to go to anybody else. Here's a quote from Patriarchs and Prophets. You're reading, the second commandment forbids the worship of the true God by images or similitudes. Many heathen nations claim that their images were figures or worship symbols by which the deity was worshipped. But God declared that such worship to be sin. In other words, listen. See, the first form of idolatry was not really worshiping other gods. It was taking something and making it and saying, this is God. There's a difference. Keep reading. But God declared, keep reading, the attempt to represent the Eternal One by material objects would lower man's conception of God. Would lower man's conception of God. That's as far as I'll go. The second, there's more to the quote, but that's as far as I'll go. The second commandment is a commandment about respect. See, it's disrespectful. I keep talking about the marriage. Why I keep going there? It's disrespectful to marry someone and then keep wishing they were somebody else. Particularly since nobody put a gun to your head when you said, I do. See, I don't know what happens to us, but, the time to express doubt about your mate is when you are engaged. The time to express doubt about your mate is while you're courting. You're courting. Once you say, I do, then you done decided. See, it's simple math when you think about it. Simple math. See, think of it this way. Supposing you married someone and they were always saying how much better you would look if you were taller or slimmer or more this or more that, lighter, darker, hair straighter, more curly. Or let's just say you came home one day and your spouse was looking at this picture. It's not you. And they said, this is the person that I can really love. And they started showing people this picture, saying, this is the love of my life. The picture's not you. Are you listening to me? You see, commenting further on the second commandment, Ellen White makes this point. Give me the second quote. Second quote. Read, the close and sacred relation of God to his people is represented under the figure of... See, that's how the word jealousy got in there. God says, you're married to me, and you keep talking about somebody that's not me. And you run around with pictures of somebody. Saying, this is my God. And God is saying, I'm tired of that. In other words, God's people with whom he has bounded himself in his tightest, closest marriage by idolatry, by worshiping images, even images of the true God, were announcing, hear the preacher, were announcing their dissatisfaction with God as God really is. That is not good for a marriage. See, the first phrase of the commandment, as recorded in the King James Version, really gives thought. Thou shalt not make unto thee. Unto who? Who is the thee in this statement? He's not referring to himself. Now listen. Hello, listen. The clear point being made by God is that the graven image is shaped and conceived by the mind and needs of the image maker. And the graven image maker is not God. We don't like God as he is. We don't like what God says, so we carve out an image of truth that suits us. We saw it when Cain offered to God his own version of God's request for a sacrifice. From the member who decides that they can spend or send their tithe as they see fit, to the member who decides that marrying outside the church does not apply to their situation, to the member who takes any teaching of Scripture and adds to it his own twist, the graven image of personally contrived truth is for the member's convenience, not God's. The image is unto the person. Frank Baker, we love a God who heals us when we're sick. He wants you to love the God who doesn't even answer when you're sick. We love the God who sees that we get that job. He wants you to love the God when you have no job and don't know from when it's coming. Stop twisting me, he says, into the God you want me to be. Accept me as I am all the time. See, the situation is graphically illustrated when Moses tarried up there in the mountain while the people were in the wilderness. They demanded of Aaron, "Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. As for this Moses, the man that brought us out of Egypt, we wot not what has become of him." Exodus 32:1. Now, what happens after this is interesting. After the calf is made, stay with the pastor, people say in Exodus 32:4, "These be thy gods, O Israel, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt." Now let me show you something that you may not have noticed when you read this chapter. Exodus 32:5. Aaron then proclaims the next day a feast to the Lord. A feast to who? See, they were not making an other god. They were making God into something they liked. We don't like a God we can't see. I don't see what God is doing. I don't see how he's acting in my life. We don't like a God we can't see. So we make a plan we can see and worship that plan. Because God's ways sometimes are mysterious and beyond our reach. But God says, if you're going to love me, you got to love me when you even can't see what I'm doing. You don't understand how I'm acting. You got to love me that way. They were making another god. They wanted their God to be a golden calf. We'll make a feast to that God. Have you ever been there? Want a God who will answer your prayers the way you pray them? You see, when you want a God, listen to me, when you want a God who will answer your prayers the way you pray them, then your graven image becomes your own thinking. You want a Savior who will heal your cancer and who will provide the mate, who will provide the job and the promotion. Carve me out a God who acts like I want and responds the way I choose, and I'll serve that God. I ask you today, do you have any graven images? You see, he says, "Thou shalt not make unto thee." Have you ever really understood the connection of the second commandment to Genesis 1:26? Genesis 1:26 says, "And let us make man in our image, after our likeness." Ladies and gentlemen, we are the image, not God. We are to duplicate God. He's not to duplicate us. You'd be insulted, deeply hurt, if you discovered your spouse was in an act of intimacy with you while thinking about some other lover. God says, you don't climb in bed with me and take my blessings and take my food and take my water and take my house and take my clothes and take my grace and take my forgiveness and take my mercy. You don't do that to me. You don't do that to me. And then claim that you love me. It's all right. The devil's just mad, and I'm glad he is. Because today, I'm telling it like it is. You see, listen to the pastor, the most dangerous graven images in the church are not idols of brick and stone and gold, but idols of ideas we have that God has never accepted. Our lives are full of conceptual images. And God is saying, I will not accept it. I'm jealous. Or as the Living Bible says, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, who will not share your affection with any other God. They say that in the crises of life, we find out who we worship. And let me tell you, folk, while the pastor is preaching this sermon with such passion and determination, see, I believe that in 2007, we really are going to move into what we call the last days. I'm convinced of that. Things are going to be a lot more different at the end of 2007 than they are now. And that's when some of us are going to find out what God we serve. Do you know that in the last days, God will not necessarily spare his people from harm? Have you read your Bible? You may not necessarily keep your house or your job. Come on, somebody. You may not necessarily keep your health because some of us, Sister Melba Smalls, are going to be put to sleep so that we can be saved. And so prayers for the sick and for the dying may not be answered. I'm preaching this sermon with passion because if you've got some kind of conceptual image of God, that he must act a certain kind of way to suit you, you better take that image today and burn it as God made the Israelites do to that golden calf, and grind it up and put it away, because that God does not exist. He never has. God has never been your puppet. He's never been dancing on your string, and he will not. So you must love God the way God is, and God's love is always consistent. The problem is ours is not. And we'll say it one more time. God is tired of you sleeping with him while you think about the devil. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that's in the heavens, that's in the earth, or in the sea. Don't bow down yourself to them nor serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. I'm tired of sharing your affections with me and somebody else. Put my closing text on the screen, folk. It's a long passage. You're going to read it with me. The Isaiah text. Let's read. I want you to listen to this now. God is talking to you. Listen, read. To whom then will you liken God? Now pause. See, when I read text like this, I got to see God now is raising issues with you. Start again. To whom then will you liken God? Or what likeness will you compare it to him? See, he says, if you're going to reproduce me, what picture are you going to use? How do you draw awesome power? How do you draw light that never goes out? How do you draw a mind that can't make a mistake? How do you duplicate that? Keep reading. The workman melteth a graven image, and the goldsmith spread it over with gold, and cast his silver chains. He's now making fun of the idols. Keep going. He that is so impoverished that he hath no oblation, chooseth a tree that will not. He seeketh unto him a cunning workman to prepare a graven image that shall not be moved. Keep going, keep going. Come on. Have ye not known? Have ye not heard? Hath it not been told you from the beginning? Have ye not understood from the foundations of the earth? He now is bringing himself on. Keep reading. It is he. See, he's saying now, how do you draw me? You hire a goldsmith to make an image covered with gold, but you can't draw me. I sit on the circles of the earth. He's talking about himself. Come on. And the inhabitants thereof are as grasshoppers. How are you going to draw me? That stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Keep reading. To whom then will you liken me? See, I love this. He's jabbing at us. Who are you going to find like me? So you might as well stick with me. How are you going to reproduce me? Keep reading. Saith the Holy One. Come on. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold who hath created these things, that bringeth out their host by number. Read, church. He calleth them all by names, by the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. Keep reading. Hast thou? See, there he goes again. No. See, he's jabbing at us. Young people with strength will wear out, but not God. Not me. That the everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is weary. There is no searching of his understanding. Keep reading. He giveth, and to them that he in. Come on. Read. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall fall. In other words, young people with strength will wear out, but not God. Not me. People you count on the banks will go dry of money, but the silver and gold on the hills are mine. The streams may dry out, but I can bring water from a rock. How come you're looking for somebody else beside me? I am your God. I'm all you need. Come on. But they, read it, church, and wait upon the Lord. They shall. Somebody say hallelujah. Your heads are bowed, your eyes are closed. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that dwelleth in heaven, on the earth, or below. Don't bow down yourself to them nor serve them. For I, the Lord your God, am tired of sharing your affections with somebody else. Isaiah 31:6 declares, turn ye unto him from whom the children of Israel have deeply revolted. For in that day every man shall cast away the idols of silver and gold, which your own hands have made unto you for sin. Your graven images of thought, of concept, can't see you through. God is begging human beings to love him as he is. He knows it's difficult. He knows it's difficult, Cheryl, for us to relate to someone so awesome, but he's saying, please try me. Just get rid of the other stuff and just look at me. Look at me. You lean on me, you'll not faint, you'll not get weary. I can see you through. It's the words of the old hymn that come to mind. I have found a friend. Oh, such a friend. He loved me ere I knew him. He drew me with the cords of love, and thus he bound me to him. And round my heart still closely twine those ties which naught can sever. For I am his, hallelujah, and he is mine forever and forever. I found a friend, oh, such a friend. He bled, he died to save me. And not alone the gift of life, but his own self he gave me. Not that I have my own I call, I hold it for the giver. My heart, my strength, my life, my all are his, and his forever. I found a friend, oh, such a friend. All power to him is given to guard me on my upward course and bring me safe to heaven. The eternal glories gleam afar to nerve my faint endeavor. So now to watch, to work, to war, and then to rest forever. I have found a friend, oh, such a friend, so kind and true and tender, so wise, a counselor and guide, so mighty a defender. From him who loveth me so well, what power my soul can sever? Shall life or death or earth or hell? No, I am his forever. Father God, forgive us for slipping under the covers of your love while we think about somebody else. Forgive us for using your name, then living in shame. Forgive us for the images of self-adulation we've erected and self-opinion we worship in the place of your holy and clear word. Forgive us for breaking that second commandment and appeal to your people to accept you as you are. So now, Father, if you would forgive us and then help us to love you. In the moments when you seem so fearsome, when you are in fact the smoke on our mountain, the lightning in our life, the tremor of our soul, even when we're not sure how you feel and what you're doing, teach us to love you through the Mount Sinai experience and then find you at the cross. I pray now, Lord, for these your people. Now on this day of baptism, when souls will go out into the water, there could be someone here today who wants to begin to prepare themselves for the next baptism, who would say, Jesus, the pastor has spoken to me today. I want to accept you as you are, your church as it is, your word as it teaches. I want to become a part. Is there someone like that today who would just rise up from their seat while the church is praying and come here and let me have your hand? Walk toward me, please.
If you have any questions about the message or would like to contact us with any prayer requests, please use the prayer request tool at the top of the page. We invite you to share this message with someone else and check back next week for another message. Thank you for visiting with us. We pray that you experience the presence of God always with you.